Okay, guys, so I have Mr. with me. I hope that you guys can hear us because I didn't feel like setting up my mic and everything. I have Mr. with me because we were having a conversation about this shelter in place order, and he was saying a lot of things that I've heard some of you guys say. And you know, I haven't talked much about this because, quite frankly, I don't trust what will come out of my mouth. So I thought it would be interesting for us to just kind of have the conversation we were literally just having like 20 minutes ago and just cut it short and kind of have it with you guys because I think we have two totally different perspectives. I think we agree on some things. He's looking at me like we don't agree on anything.
No, I think we agree on some things, but I think your positionality is, I think, a little bit self-serving and skewed. Personally, I still love
Ooh.
you, but I think that's where it is. So let's just go and get into it and make your
Okay.
opening commentary.
Okay, so here's my thing. And I think it's really important to say this. I am not against people choosing to stay at home or close their businesses. I do think it should be a choice, though. I don't think the government should be in a position to dictate if people can keep their businesses open um, because of a sickness or anything else. I don't think the government should be able to dictate when you can leave your home, why you can leave your home. Something really disturbing that kind of pushed me over the edge was my eldest son was talking about, I think it was another employee who has a dying grandparent, and the family wanted to remove that grandparent from the nursing home so they can't visit the grandparent. So the family said, okay, if we can't come in the nursing home, we want to bring her out of the home so that she can basically die with her family. And they were told they could not remove her either. These sort of overstepping of personal freedom is very problematic to me. And I'm literally disgusted that society has acquiesced to this so easily. And I guess that's where I stand.
Well, I don't know if it's an acquiescence of just something kind of like, you know, merely, just something frugal. I mean, this is a real pandemic that's going on. And I too had a student that's dealing with that same situation where his mother's in a nursing home and he could not go in there and physically see her and or remove her. So I'm fully aware of these unfortunate, situations and circumstance. I've even seen pictures of people visiting their elderly parents through a glass and singing and doing different innovative things just in order to be in contact with them. And I think we need to be clear on why these kind of drastic measures are being are taking place. I mean, it's not because people are just, well, they are exerting their power and will, but why are they doing this? And so I think that's the, I mean, so you could say, yeah, maybe some of this is propagandized. You could argue maybe it's not as bad as it seems to be, but it has impacted a lot of people. And my take on this, if I personally could limit the spread, then I think I have an obligation to do that. I think Irene's point is that you shouldn't be forced to have to do that. Well, here's my argument to that. You're not forced to do that. A lot of people that break the laws are not forced to um, break the laws that they're breaking. I mean, you could go to jail. I mean, you could take the fine if you want to. You do have that choice. I mean, there is that option. But my point of it is like, if we could restrict others from, potentially getting this, I say, why not? I mean, so my hair looks toe back. I might have to cut it bald. I mean, I can't go to a barber. I mean, I can't get a pedicure or anything like that. Not that I do anyway. But I'm just saying, there's certain things that we're going to have to do without. Now, we're still able to get the essentials. No one's starving, right? We're still able to do the things that we need to do in order to maintain, so, at least
Wow.
status quo, right? I mean, we're able to work. We have technology. We have all the things we could
Well,
do.
you're able to work.
Well,
I
yeah.
mean, a lot of people have lost their jobs. Let's be clear that Mr. and I, our life does not reflect the lives of most people in the United States. He's able to work, right? Because of what he does for a living. I have an income that is completely unaffected by anything that's going on right now. So, my lifestyle, as far as my comfort level and finances, are not going to change because of what's going on here. But many people have lost their jobs. Many people are hungry because they live paycheck to paycheck, because they have lost their jobs, because they are not able to bring in that extra income. Many people are being evicted, although some states are trying to pass laws. Many people are being evicted, losing their homes. Um, all sorts of things are happening to lots of people.
No, that's true. I would say it hasn't directly impacted me yet, but it has impacted me. Like, the property value of my home has fluctuated and recently gone down. I mean, and I have tenants, and I don't know how that's going to go. So there's a lot of things that could be impacted by me personally. I mean, I couldn't visit California where my parents are. I mean, so it's just a lot of different things that have impacted me personally. But again, not to say I'm trustworthy of the government, and I know they're using a lot of these.
That's literally what you're saying, though.
No, no. I mean, I have to take my friends who are health experts, who are working in the fields, who are seeing, I mean, they're on the ground floor, right? They're seeing how it's impacting people. I have to trust my student who mom is in that situation. I mean, so I just can't go off the propaganda, although a lot of us are going to go by because, I mean, we're bombarded with it 24/7. I mean, every time I hear it, I think about, what's her name? Cardi B, coronavirus, so it's everywhere. So you cannot not hear it and think about the impact, and even with me, where it's like cold and everything. I mean, it's, you start to think about things like, oh my goodness, do I have shortness of breath? Am I have a high temp? I mean, all these things start to run through your mind. And so you have to take it seriously.
Ugh. Can I just say this? Because I had to make sure I had the recent numbers. I really want people to put this in perspective. Number one, I would rather people get sick and die than for any precedent legally to be set that the government can tell me when and how, when and what I can do, when I can leave my home and what I can do when I leave my home. That is just too much infringement on my personal rights, period. I don't care if you just want to take a walk. I don't care if you want to get a manicure, go out to dinner. I don't care if people feel it's a selfish thing or not. You should be able to choose whether or not you can leave your own home and why you do that. No government should ever be in a position to tell you when and why you can leave your own home. Let me start there. Also, just to put it in perspective, although I just disagree with this period, we have to understand that 100,000 people in the world have actually died from this virus. And there are 5.5 billion people on Earth, billion with a B. 100,000 out of 5.5 billion people have died, and they have quarantined or locked in their homes 1/5 of the world's population. In the United States, we have 100,000 people who are diagnosed, right? And most of those are not even really sick. They're just positive. And we have about 2,330 deaths. 2,330 deaths and 3,000 dead people doesn't get me locked in my home. That is insane. Also, I want to clarify that flattening the curve doesn't mean stopping people from getting sick. It means slowing down the rate with which people get sick. So they still will say the same amount of people are going to get sick. They need people to get sick, in fact, or we can't create what they call herd immunity. Most of the population must get this virus in order for them to truly stop it.
But not at this exceptional rate,
But
though.
they just wanted to slow it down. My thing is, I don't think your personal freedom should be infringed on to flatten anything. I don't think it's the government's place. I think they can inform the public of what we can do, and individuals need to make that choice either to do it or not. But when we walk into a world when you cannot leave your home without doing something sanctioned by the government being the reason, or when you cannot even opt to remove your own family member from a nursing facility, and we pay the facilities to keep our family. When do you pay for a service and then the service provider says, you know what, you no longer have a choice in what service I provide? That is insane. You can't even remove a living human being that is a member of your family from a facility because the government has said so. A voluntary facility at that. This is not trying to take somebody out of prison. These are nursing
Well, that's
homes
happening too.
where they can't take people. Well, we can't go take people out of prison anyway. I'm saying a
No, no, no,
nursing
no,
home,
no.
you normally
I'm
have the
saying that they
option,
are considering removing people from prison.
but you
Those are,
can't take family out of nursing homes, but they can release prisoners.
well, that's what they're saying to reduce the spread.
And I feel like people are so indoctrinated because we're spending more time on TV, more time on social media. Whenever I hear people talking about why this is okay, they're literally saying all the stuff that social media and the news and stuff are telling them. It's not for you, it's for other people. You're being selfish if you don't think that the government's doing the right thing. Like, this is parroting off the things that you're hearing 20 million times a day on every outlet that you put your face in front of. You're not even spewing your own thoughts at this point. You're just repeating the stuff that's on social media. You're just repeating the stuff that's on television. You're just repeating the stuff that's on the radio. That is disturbing to me. It's disturbing to me that when people do have an argument as to why we should not be bothered by the government telling us what to do to this extent, that the only rebuttals are the same things that the media is telling you to think. That is scary to me. At least have your own opinion. I don't even think people have that.
Well, that may be true, but the thing about it is, people are going at this time. They are going to be very dependent upon the government. I mean, they feel like this is the time that the government should be doing their job. The president, whatever your take on him is he should be presidential if you think he hasn't been. This is a time where people are going to lean on the government, especially as you articulated earlier, that when a lot of people have lost their jobs and everything. And so this little stimulus package that some will be receiving is going to be, I mean, very much needed, but I mean, it's not going to be significant. But again, a lot of people are going to need those things. And so, in one breath, I don't think most of society can say, oh, screw this. I'm going to go out there and do what I need to do because you can't be in control over me and this, that, and the third. And then say, okay, well, where's my check? I mean, it's kind of contradictory to what's the president's been said. And so I don't think the lion's share of people are going to do that just rationally. You know, like they're going to like, really? I'm going against curve, so I'm going to spend, 1,000 of that 1,200 I'm going to receive, paying a fine, where I'm just going to stay my behind at home, really. And like we were talking about earlier off air, I just look at it as black folks. How many times have we have made sacrifices to do things that had to be done for other folks? And I'm just not talking about the rhetoric on the news. I'm talking about the things that we have constantly done historically. To be, just to be those surrogates for those of us who are coming down the pipe. And so there's a lot of young people who are doing things for the elderly. Like they're going out there, they're saying it, they're trying to lift their spirits. Um, they're visiting them through the glasses and stuff like that. I mean, so there are a lot of people that are doing things that really they shouldn't be doing, but they're doing it in the sense of trying to help others. So it's more than just staying at home. We know D Nice was doing his thing before, the record labels
That was
cut it down.
propaganda.
I mean, but we could say what isn't propaganda at this point. I mean, everything you could look at and say, okay, that's propaganda.
It was propaganda, though.
Mhm.
Michelle Obama in the house, Cardi B in
Absolutely.
the house,
Yes, Mark.
everybody that we've paid to come in the house. It's just like, oh
Yeah,
my gosh, to make you feel
but literally
comfortable with
everybody's in the
being
house.
locked in the with being locked in your house. It's
Literally
like, look,
everybody's in the house.
we want you to feel comfortable. We're all in this together. Everybody acquiesce to the system. Look, the celebrities are doing it. It's just like, really?
Yes, so, but
But here's the thing. Does the government have to force you to stay at home for people to stay at home? That is my big problem. People can make the choice.
you can,
The
like I said,
government, no, but wait. It is not, yes. Now, to go
you
back, because
can,
you made this point,
you
you
can make
can
the
choose
choice.
to break the law, but it's
Yes,
not about that. It is about being in a system where anybody could pass a law to tell you you can't leave your own home
but
as a free person who has committed no crime. So, yes, you could break the law and break the quarantine, but here's the thing. You shouldn't be in a position. Leaving your home to do whatever you choose to do with yourself shouldn't be breaking the law. That is insane in and of itself. That is a problem. It is not about, well, you don't have to keep the quarantine. It's about how dare they even put you in a position where something as simple as making a choice about why you want to leave your home could be something that gets you thrown in jail or fined. That is insane.
well, the thing about it is laws change, as we all know. Laws change, and they're determined based on what's going on in society. I mean, we know there was a law regarding enslavement, where if you were trying to do the direct opposite of what we're talking about right now, you would be considered a lawbreaker. I mean, so these things change to determine
I'm
on
glad you
the
brought up
situation.
slavery because honestly, these are the sorts of laws that existed during slavery. Slaves had to be in their homes by a certain time. Where we are currently, you have to be at home by 8 p.m. Or you have to have papers. You have to have papers. You know, my eldest child
Yes,
was just
you have to be
telling
an
me
essential
his
card.
his job, he had to actually get paperwork to show to the authorities if he were stopped that he works an essential job. So that is crazy. That is just like slavery. You need papers in order to move about freely, to prove that you're okay to move about freely. You have a curfew as to when you need to be inside. Heck, that's like back to the black code era, where black people couldn't be on the street, but in this case, it's all people. So, very literally, this is a form of slavery. For so long, I've been saying, we are slaves, we are slaves, and I've had people give me pushback on that. The thing is that we were given in a level of freedom as slaves that made us feel that we were free. And now they're letting us know, okay, well, when we decide we want to do something new with you, and the new law of the land is you cannot leave your house except for these specific things that I have said are okay for you to leave your home for under penalty of law, well, then it shows you don't have any freedom. And this isn't about being selfish. It's about the principle of the thing. Because people can choose to self isolate, people can choose to shelter in place, but it ought to be your choice. There should not be a governmental arm telling you when you can leave your own home.
I mean, if I were to go out and let's say I went to the store because that's one of the essential places, and I start to cough, I may get arrested. I mean, there's a multiplicity of negative things that can happen to me just based upon the current state of affairs right now. You're laughing, but I'm serious, especially being a black man too. Oh my goodness, it's a terrorist attempt. I mean, all sorts of things. You're laughing, but
No,
this is
because
the
I really
truth.
was like, Mister,
This is
let's.
true.
I was like, Mister, let's go out and get some champagne or something. At least if we're gonna be, because I have to obey him. So, the other day I had my little moment where I went out. It was raining and stuff, but then I was trying to see if Mister would just like go. I was like, let's just take a walk. Let's walk to the store. I said, so let's go there, and that's literally what he was saying to me. He was like.
You crazy as cat boo boo. They gonna look at me like, okay, he looking scrungy as it is and everything. Now he's over here coughing and everything. No. They'll come in there with hazmat suits on and lock me up. I wouldn't have. I mean, they will force test me and everything. So no, it's. I mean, we're kind of making light of it, but at the same time being serious. So, you know, Irene's argument is I it sound. I mean, it's a logical argument, but the times did dictate to me different measures and everything. And I get it. It's a lot of things being propagandized. Um, and I'm always leery of the government, but at this time it's like, okay, they're supposed to do right by the people, and when does that happen? And we could definitely argue that that's not happening now, especially with this little stimulus peanuts that are going
I
around.
think they can keep. Okay, so this is easy for me to say, but you guys already know that I don't. I think that you pay a price when you take benefits from the government of any kind. So like Mr. was saying earlier, you can't take the government's money and then be like, I don't want to do the quarantine. I don't want the government telling me what to do. And that's true. If you become the government's child, right? You become the government's dependent in any way, you lose your right to freedom. That's whether you're taking welfare. That's if you choose to participate in the Social Security retirement program. Anytime you engage the Office of Human Capital, that's a real branch of the government. That's where the stimulus package will come from. Anytime you engage the Office of Human Capital, there is a loss of personal freedom. There is a loss of personal rights. I agree with that. But y'all already know I'm not for the okey doke with the government. I'm not going to get any stimulus, anything. My kids don't even have birth certificates and Social Security cards around here. So we won't be getting a penny from the government, and I am okay with that. Now, for those of you who have to depend on the government, who are going to want this stimulus package, well, then the loss of your rights comes with that. But I have not waived any of my rights. But all of you guys acquiescing is screwing up my freedom. Because let's say the other day it was
See,
raining, I wanted to get out. It was raining, I wanted to get out. But get out to what? Because the acquiescence of the masses means that those of us who would still be free, we cannot even move about freely because y'all are also chained. Your chains are starting to extend to others. And since we're all concerned about how our actions affect others, the acquiescence of the many is screwing up the freedom of the few. It's problematic.
that's what I'm talking about. That's the selfish part that I hear
You know
in
what?
her
I want
argument.
my freedom, and if me wanting to be free and not wanting to be enslaved because you choose to be enslaved is selfish, then I am a selfish person.
But so, like you said earlier, a lot of people don't have a choice. If their businesses, I mean, if they were, entrepreneurial,
They could have
um,
left their businesses open. They had a choice. They could have
they're
refused.
not getting any clientele.
Yes, this is the thing. That is what I'm saying. These are self-made problems. Businesses could have chosen to stay open. We could have said, okay, all right, government, public servants, because that's what you are. You are overstepping your bounds. We as individuals will make the decision to either self isolate or not. But you do not tell us to close our private businesses. You do not tell us not to leave our homes. If we had drawn the line there, society and individuals could have made the determination of what is best for them and their families.
So once you draw that line in the sand, especially with the temperament of the current president, I'm not taking pot shots at him. I mean, it just is what it is. He takes ad homs. If you do not acquiesce, or if you're not sycophantical to the current president, he will
Oh,
have some comeback for you.
that is
And
nope.
and no,
Because
that
President Trump didn't start these shelter in place
no, no, no,
orders.
no, no, no. I'm not talking.
Democratic
No,
states
no,
started that
I'm
crap.
not. I'm not being
So it's
bipartisan.
not, my point is it's not him that was the problem.
No,
Democratic
no, no,
liberal
no.
states started this crap
You didn't let
first.
me finish my point. My point of the matter is this: if you take that stance, right, and say, "Hey, we're not going to do that," right? Now, listen to me out. Listen to. If you say, "Hey, we're going to keep our business open," for example, let's say a barber shop. Hey, we're going to keep our business open. People can come in here and still get hit and everything. And let's say, God forbid, because it has happened, someone contracted the virus from that barber shop or from a person in
It's
there.
at their own risk.
I understand that. But now, once that shop is closed and everything, now they're going to say, oh, we need some federal assistance. We need help because our business is shut down and everything. And then, knowing the president, how he is and everything. Said, well, you all didn't go by the mandate and everything. Now, because
But wait, this is why
he's
I
behaved that
don't think
way.
you can pin this on Trump though.
No,
Because
no, no,
no,
no, no, no, no,
let
no,
me
no, no, no,
explain
no.
why. No,
I'm
I
not.
don't think that would happen. Babe, I
He's
don't
done
think
it.
that no, but listen, it doesn't matter because
It
this
does
is
matter.
let me say why it doesn't. Because here's the thing. Trump didn't want to infringe on state rights. He was getting drug through the mud because these trash governors were attacking him for not wanting to infringe on state rights. He said each state and each municipality should make that choice for
I understand.
themselves.
I
And so
understand that.
you had these liberal governments,
I
New
understand.
York, California, these huge governments, Florida, acting a plumb fool, talking about the president needs to make us, the federal government needs to get involved. And Trump said he wanted to leave it to the states. So Trump wouldn't have had a problem. He didn't start implementing this 15-day thing and all this stuff until California started acting a fool. New York State started acting a fool. And then Trump started to put out federal orders because everybody was making him look bad for trying to maintain state sovereignty. And he was on the right track with that. We have let these liberal whack jobs who care nothing about individual freedom and are lightweight socialists and not in the good way, in their rhetoric, really push our president, who was all for state sovereignty, and it should have been left to the states between the governors and the mayor of each state. It should have never become a federal thing. And our president did try to stop it from becoming a federal thing, and he literally got bullied by the liberal media into making federal orders where he kept saying there should be none.
First of all, the president doesn't get bullied. The president does the bullying, especially from his pulpit.
Oh,
Now, and you're
wow.
making my point because here's the thing: the entrepreneurial, the small business person gets caught in the middle of this bipartisan BS. And so, if this, for example, like I was stating before I was interrupted, if this barbershop has to close because of the fact that the virus has shut down the business and everything, or people have become contracted, so on and so forth. Now, if they do have, like you articulated, a liberal whack job as a governor and everything, they're going to say, well, you should have not done this in the first place. You should have, heed the warnings of, what we said. And now they're right in the middle between of what the president was trying to do and what these it's still not helping them. So what are they going to do in that situation? They still need the help of the government.
This is
So it's a
only
lose-lose situation
This
for
is
them.
that only works that way if only one business did it. If collectively as a people who should be running the government because they are our civil servants and they shouldn't be telling us what to do. If collectively as a people we said we understand that this virus is going to burn through society. Individuals take responsibility for their vulnerable family members, right? And make the individual choice to self-quarantine or not. Individual businesses make the choice on their own if they want to leave their businesses open or not. And every free-thinking person is responsible and understands that my responsibility is what comes in to the situation when I choose to self-quarantine or not. Then the people who get sick or the businesses that fail, that is their choice. They take a calculated risk, as we do every day with our businesses, and sink or swim on their own. We are not children around here. We are not babies. We are not infants. We don't need the government to carry anything. You sink or swim on your own. You make the choices. That is part of being an adult, a free person, is that ability to make the decision
But
and reap the
they're being
consequences
impacted.
of your
But
actions.
they're going to be impacted by
Their
well, no,
choices.
not this their choices. If somebody said, "Hey, don't go here. Don't only essential," and they say and they deem
But
this as not being essential.
if it's
eh,
recommended but not enforced by law, then people are taking their own chances. And that's how it should have come down from the government, babe. It should have been, this is what we recommend. If you go against our recommendations, these are likely going to be the consequences, the health consequences or the business consequences to that. And each individual free person makes their choice for their businesses, their families, themselves. And whatever happens, happens. But it was your choice.
Yeah, politics get in the way of that. That was never going to happen.
I think this is just a flex of governmental power. And we are fools to think. Now, when you set a legal precedent for something, you will never put this genie back in the bottle. They have literally created a system where you can be told when you can leave your home and why. We will never cap this box. Pandora's box is open. And this is a dangerous thing that we're playing. We know in Denmark, while they have their citizens locked in their homes now, they are saying you will take mandatory testing and treatment at will of the government. And if you think that won't come here, the way everybody thought China's lockdown wouldn't come here, if you think that they're not, and a couple of people have already said here on this channel, they know of a couple of people that have been arrested. I think it was, and was it Mississippi? A couple of people who have been arrested for not sheltering in place. If you think that this won't become militant, if you think that the government's going to let go of this level of control over you, once the coronavirus quote unquote passes, you're crazy. And you're going to look back on this moment where you traded your freedom for temporary security, and you're going to regret it.
Well, I don't. That may be true, but there's a lot of money tied into this. And so when we were talking about this early on, months ago, and I said, it's real, but they're going to get a handle of it because we're talking about the Olympics. We're talking about so much money, right? And the conservatives have already said this. They care more about the economy and money than they care about lives. And that's just crazy to me. But with that being said, they're going. I mean, they've already postponed the 2020 Summer Olympics, right? Um, for them not to get a handle of this or some type of, well, it's not going to be a cure, but whatever it is that they're working on, this vaccine, um, and a combination of HIV, drugs, and everything that's supposed to be doing something towards mitigating the spread or whatever the case is now. Something's going to be done in a dramatic fashion, and I'm of the mind that there's already a cure there. Typically, this is how these things work. You know, you already have the cure, and then you put out the disease. I mean, that's just how it works. Um, but I think it's going to be handled in a way that it causes a scare, that it does allow this type of kind of like martial lawing to kind of come into effect. But at the same time, there's just too much money that's being. I mean, the economy, like like I said, most of the conservatives are like, hey, we want to get the economy back and running again. So what if we had to lose some lives and everything? The president wants everything back and running by Easter. And I don't know if that's going to be able to occur, but I know that to say that this is a way in which they could control things, yes. But I don't know if this is going to be the norm from here on out because it's just so capitalistic and they're more concerned about money than they're concerned about humans. And society is pretty fickle anyway. And so that's my argument, Tyrene. Most people are not going to, they're just going to be caught up on their own wills and everything. And should they have the right to do that? Yes. But some people are just not going to, they're just going to be totally selfish. And for
But
those who,
wanting to be free is not being selfish. That's not selfish. Feeling you should have autonomy over your body, that you should be able to move freely on the planet, is not selfish.
no, but if it's going to impact other people,
But
again,
your needs don't infringe upon my freedom. That should not happen. That's what I'm saying. Freedom doesn't have a price tag on it. It's not like you're free until, you're free unless. No, that's not freedom. And that's the thing, is I think we've gotten too comfortable with not being free that the more our rights are infringed on, it doesn't matter. It's like, I don't understand that thinking. People are going to get sick and people are going to die, and so be it. I don't want to lose my freedom because some people might die. That's insane. Death is a part of life, and I'm not personally willing to sacrifice my freedom to prevent somebody dying. That is crazy.
But that doesn't mean you go out there and just potentially cause a lot of death either.
But
I
you're not
mean,
causing it because people can choose to self isolate. People can choose to not go to restaurants. People can choose to keep their vulnerable ones in the home. People can choose. People can make that choice. I can't get somebody sick who's not interacting with me. People can make the choice. Just like right now, you're not inviting people over to your home. People can make that choice for themselves. My freedom does not need to be infringed on
but
for
do
you to take
people?
care of yourself.
Yeah, but do people make the right choice? And I'm not saying to make the choice for
But
them,
if they make
but
a
we
bad
know.
choice, that's their choice and they suffer the consequences, right?
But it's just not their choice, is what I'm saying.
How is it not their choice? Give me an example
No,
of
no, no,
where
no.
it's
I'm
not
just
somebody's
saying it's
choice.
just not. So if you go out and make a bad decision, and I say, oh, okay, I'm healthy, and there's not a lot of people in this restaurant and everything, but you go out knowingly that you've been exposed or something like that, and you really, that's a bad choice. That's
But
going
the
to
people who
impact
are at
other.
the restaurant, they know that that's a possibility. That's their choice. And if they get sick, it's based on their choice. So be it. We are not babies. We don't need to be protected from ourselves.
Some of us do.
No, those people still can make their choice. Dumb people get choices too. And if that choice leads to a problem for them, so be it. Do we really need to create laws because some people are dumb? So we're going to start infringing on people's freedom because some people might make bad choices
It's just like a scary movie. You know, you always have the stupid blonde girl that goes out
and
and
gets
everything.
herself killed
Exactly.
and let her die.
Yes, and it impacts everybody else too.
Let her die.
She's a savage.
God. I'm just saying, realistically speaking, though. I mean, because here's the thing that's life, period. Right? You make sexual choices. You could get a deadly disease and pass it on. That's your choice.
Like Trump said, people died and never died before, I guess, huh?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Really,
but death
really,
is a natural part of life.
really, Mr. Brown first made that quote, by the way,
I
from
just want
Tyler
to
Perry
say,
movie.
death is a natural part of life. Why people are wigging out about it, I don't know.
Because people don't want to die. It's that simple.
But you know what? Get with reality.
But you can't say get with reality if you're like 20 or 16
Some
or
of them
something
will
like
die
that.
too.
Yes, and you don't have any underlying health issues and everything, and next thing you know, you have tubes. I
Weaker,
mean,
sicker people die easily. More easily. That's just facts. It's just facts. It may
yeah,
not be what people want to
it's
hear. It
facts,
may
and
not
we
be what
should.
people
It's
like.
the facts, and we should be trying to eliminate them from getting a virus that
They
could
can
cause
self
them.
isolate. They can self isolate.
And that's the purpose of the going back to the nursing homes
But
because
if
they're
people want to take their family out and their family member wants to leave, you can't force people not to be able to leave a nursing home. That is crazy. That is crazy.
they're trying to protect
They're
everyone else.
old. They're still free people. They
Yeah,
might
they're
be old, but they can choose to leave. They should have the right to leave. Just because they're old doesn't mean that they should lose their ability to make choices. Just because they're old doesn't mean their family should not be able to bring them home where they can die if they're going to die around people who love them. This is madness. This is madness, y'all.
so the point of this whole discussion was because somebody wanted to get their nails did. That's where this all stemmed from.
No, that's not
Yeah,
true.
yeah, it was. And somebody wanted to eat at or take me to a French restaurant or something, which I wasn't going to go in the first place. Let's be clear about that. But listen, we have the opportunity
Well,
and the
don't
ability
trivialize
to.
my. No, that's true. No,
No,
wait, wait.
no, no,
It
no, no,
is
no.
true.
Okay,
It is true. I did want to go.
why you
It
keep
is true.
interrupting me?
Because, no, because you're trivializing.
You're
It is
trivializing
true.
life, like
It
saying
is.
people are going to die and
That's
they're
not
sick. No,
trivializing life. That's reality.
yeah, it doesn't have to be the reality of folks,
Yes,
though.
it is true. I wanted to go to the spa. It is true. Now, you guys, here's the thing. My life is different than all of your lives. I homeschool. I'm a homebody. I'm a stay at home mom. I don't do a lot. I don't go out every single day. So for me, yes, when I had Mister to myself, I said, you know what? I would love to go have brunch. I would love to go to a spa. I would love just to get out of the house at all, right? Take the kids on an outing because my children are homeschooled. Just being able to get out and live life. And I can't do that. And that is a problem for me. Me wanting to live my life is not selfish or trivial. It is my right to do that.
Getting your
But
nails
because,
done.
yes, if I want to go to the spa, I'm a full time mom. I homeschool 5 days a week. I teach. If I want to take a break and have time for myself, that could be trivial to some people, but it should be my right to do that. The government shouldn't be able to tell me I can't go do something like go get my nails done. That is insane. And again, although media has told us that it's trivial for us to want to live life and that our freedom is selfish, I am not going to be brainwashed by any amount of propaganda regarding this. At the end of the day, it is not the government's place to tell me anything with regard to my personal living. You manage federal intercommerce. You manage interstate interaction. You manage and speak for the people, but you don't tell the people what to do. Now, that is what we're not going to get into. This flip floppy stance of government where they do not serve and speak for the people is a problem for me. When the government starts to tell me what I will do or not do under penalty of law, when the government tells me when I can leave my house and for what reason, I draw the line. Even if the only thing I want to do when I leave my house is go sit in a French restaurant and have a glass of champagne. Even if what I want to do is to get my mother or my grandmother home so she can be loved with her family and cared for and not in a nursing home. The government has no place to tell me I can't do those things. Trivial or not trivial, it's not their place.
Well, like I said earlier, most people are not going to agree with your stance because they're dependent upon the government right now, and you can't have it both ways. And there's this dependency, and so a lot of people not in your situation where you know their babies don't have social security cards or associated with the government in any type of way. That's not the reality for the majority of folks. And so their reality is that they have to do um, what the government is saying. And frankly, a lot of them think it's the right thing to do anyway because they're trying to, reduce the spread. And I don't think that's a bad thing to do at all either. If you're trying to reduce or keep people safe, I think that's I think that's all well and good. Um, there is some propagandizing going on. Um, it hasn't reached the point of martial law, although in some states like California, there's been a more increase um, sighting of you know military folks. But I think it's we need to have all hands on deck at this point. And if it's getting blown out of proportion, well, I'd rather side on this side and not having it, increase exponentially, which it has been doing. But again, we're beginning more testing, so that's natural to see that type. Um, but I don't think we've gone to the extreme where, like China, which I think we should, where people should have their temperatures taken, and if you're delivering food and everything, you should have hazmat suits on, and the temperature of the person who prepared your food, who delivered your food, and you stay back. I mean, I showed Irene in that video. I'm like, these are the measures that people are taking, and that's, I mean, they had to do that. It's not to that extent right now, but I mean, if we really want to get on top of it, we may have to take some drastic measures. And the numbers are where they are now, but they could change, exponentially within a matter of weeks. And we don't know if those numbers are actually accurate. They could be a lot. you know, worse, or they could be a lot lower. I mean, we just don't know because a lot of people aren't tested and a lot of people are so asymptomatic, right? So, again, I think at this point we should just listen to the experts. And we're going to have to make the sacrifice, unfortunately, Irene. So,
I think that
that's
nothing
my
I
fault.
say here is going to matter, but I will just let you guys know that any loss of freedom we experience from here on out is the fault of the American people.
Really, you going to blame it on the people for
Yes, I
trying to do the
am.
right thing?
I'm going to blame, no, because the right thing is not to let the government tell you what to do. You can make the choice to do these things freely. You don't have to be forced.
Go to jail, people. Yeah, take your $1,200 and spend 1,000 of that in jail.
It's too late. Everybody's already acquiesced.
Not everyone
But I
has.
guess fear of punishment will get you to listen to authority. So there you go. Coercive force has always been used to subjugate people. Now is no different. And that's why I said, because so many people, so many of you were like, Irene, speak on it, this and that. And I just don't trust myself. I don't trust
But
myself
it's
in
not
what I
just
would say.
force, it's
It's
guilt too.
coercive
It's
force.
guilt too. A lot of people are guilty, like, oh, like you said, you like I even said it, and I said you're being selfish. You're not
Yeah,
doing the
he
right
tried it
thing
with me, but that won't work with me.
because she's a savage. That you see,
It's because
she doesn't
that
care.
that's not going to work with me. But it works with a lot of people. But this is what I'll say: they will try guilt, but if guilt doesn't work, they will use force, and that's what we're seeing. We're seeing the progression of it, right? We're seeing the progression of that. They are deploying, the armed forces, and they're saying it's just to hand out flyers, it's just to do this and that. But if you don't listen, it will turn into something else. Some people have already gone to jail, so they will try the guilt. But if the guilt doesn't work, they'll use the force. And at the end of the day, your obedience has always been acquired through force. Your obedience has always been acquired through coercive force. And so it is what it is. I know that I'm going to stand in the minority on this. And I guess that has been probably the most heartbreaking thing that I've had to come to grips with and like reality with, because a lot of what I talk about on this channel, and that's a lot of why I haven't been uploading, because I just don't think there's anything I can say. I spend most of my time talking about liberation, talking about mental rebellion, talking about revolution. And I just recognize that that is just not the spirit of the age. People are fearful, cowards. People can be told what to do at just even the remotest hint of danger to themselves. People fall into line. And it's truly heartbreaking because it's like the frog in the pot that's slowly coming to a boil. By the time you guys wake up, you will have handed over too much of your freedom to double back on it. And you will already be boiling. And I think it's unfortunate that the bigger picture of this is not seen. I guess my only question is, what is your freedom worth? What is the price of that? What is the price tag on your freedom? And I think each person has to ask themselves that. Anyway, I have to listen to him, and you know where he stands. So, he's the boss.
Coronavirus.
Stop,
It is
babe.
real.
I'm so done with you.
It is real.
All right, we'll talk to you guys later.
The babies, the future, the black babies, that's what it's all about. They talk about Black Lives Matter. I'm gonna tell you like this, man. The black youth is what matters the most. And that's what we gotta do, because that youth is what's gonna be the ones to liberate us. We gotta hear from them. So as we give it to them, and we give this, they use these tools to build with, this is our future right here. I mean, it's the biggest investment you can make. Science Institute. You gotta invest. And there's African Senate institutes all over the country. You gotta find where they at. You gotta support those people, because there's people out here that actually have institutions and that are actually in the community doing things. You know, it's not about what we're gonna do and how we're gonna do it. You have people doing it. So it's happening. You just gotta get with the brothers, help the brothers, support the future, support yourself. That's what we're doing, you know.